Hello, welcome back to another video from the Modern Paladin Project YouTube channel. Topic of this video is going to be something I see almost nobody ever talking about, and that would be solid footwear. Of course, for just every day, or especially in rough times, you're going to want something that supports your feet, protects your feet, keeps them dry. A lot of good options out there. My personal choice is the Danner Vicious. It's a low boot. It goes over the ankle. Let's be clear, Danner doesn't know I exist, of course. I'm a nobody. But I've been wearing their boots for about 6 years, I think. And just for, I don't know how well this is going to work. I don't do the fancy editing stuff, but this is what the boot looks like. What you're seeing here is a fairly new pair. They've got I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months on them. I've babied this pair. What you're seeing here, this pair, is a pair that I've not babied so much. They're probably 6 years old, and they are beat all to hell. I have done everything in these boots. I've done construction, I've done demolition, I've done 5-mile hikes in the Arkansas mountains, fishing, just day-to-day wear. I have another pair here that are not quite so beat up, but I had to retire this pair, which brings me to the only problem I've had in with these shoes in the 6 years I've been wearing them. That would be the left shoe on this pair picked up a squeak. I'm not really sure how it happened, to be honest with you. I first noticed it, let's hope we get back in focus here when I put that up. I first noticed it not long after I'd stepped on some hot steel in my shop and used my foot to hold it down while I cut it with a grinder. It wasn't hot enough to melt the sole or anything, but I have to wonder if it wasn't at least hot enough to kind of weaken something up in there, because it squeaks now, and I had to retire that pair. I couldn't tolerate the squeak. So far, that means the only problem that I've had with these shoes in about 6 years of use is a squeak that I probably caused. The other pair, oh man, the stuff I've done in those boots, they're abused, they're used hard, they're abused, they're not very poorly taken care of, and they're still trugging along, man. They're comfortable as hell. They definitely keep your feet dry as long as you keep the water level below the top of the boot. They do everything a pair of shoes would want. They do everything you'd want a pair of shoes to do. They're a little on the heavier side. I personally don't mind that. The wife's always talking about my calf muscles. I do actually have fairly muscular legs, but so I don't mind that little bit of extra weight on these boots for the protection they provide. Danner in general, when I was working for the last probably 17 or so years of my career, I wore Danner Acadias or Danner, I forget the name of the other ones. They're the all-leather version of an Acadia. Danner's great products, immediately comfortable, no break-in. So yeah, I bought the beat-up pair about 6 years ago. They started getting too nasty for, casual wear, trying to look somewhat decent or at least normal instead of walking around in beat-to-hell shoes. So I bought probably about 2.5 years after I bought those, I bought this second pair that, the middle pair with no laces that has the squeak. And I wore them for 2 years or so, looking nice and trying to, use one pair for day-to-day beat up and another pair for looking fairly decent. And then they got the squeak, so I bought the third pair. They look, they look still nice and clean. I've only had them 3 or 4 or 5 months. I'm not sure exactly when I bought them, but anyway, a lot of rant for, shoes. But bottom line is, people don't talk about the importance in shoes. I never see YouTube videos for prepper types or tactical types that really talk about footwear. Obviously, you're going to want something that protects the ankle as well as the other qualifications I've listed. I like I said, I'm not sponsored by Danner. I love their products. Maybe someday I'll be a Danner rep or a sponsor or something. I don't know. That could happen. I highly doubt it. I'm really not seeking that sort of YouTube channel. I'm not seeking to be that sort of a YouTube channel, but I don't know that I would say no if Danner said, hey, you want a free pair of boots for advertising for us? I'd probably have to go for that, But anyway, whatever. Good shoes. It doesn't have to be, obviously you're a grown person. You can choose what you like, but you do want your shoes to meet that criteria. You want a tough outer shell. You want waterproof is good. Gore-Tex is great because it's waterproof and kind of breathable. My feet don't actually get all that hot in these Gore-Tex boots, the Danner Gore-Tex ones here. You want ankle protection up over the ankle so it doesn't roll. You want lace up so they don't come off your feet quite so easy. I see guys, when I was working as a cop, there was a talk that they were, for a little bit, the agency I worked for at the time had some talk that they were going to make everybody start wearing cowboy boots. I'm like, no, you're not. Those things, as much as I wore them when I was younger, before I was a cop, I know the downsides. You get into a bit of mud and they just come right off your feet, They offer no ankle support. You can roll an ankle wearing them pretty easily. Whatever you do, just stay off the cowboy style boots for any kind of a tactical use. That should be common sense for most of you, but whatever. I kind of got out into rambling, like I said in the initial video, and basically every one of them since, all 5 or 6 of them. I'm coming into these things with no script. I know the topics I want to hit off the top of my head, and whatever comes out of my mouth is what you're going to see on the video. Maybe someday I'll figure out how to edit and clean them up, but it's just honestly not what I'm really interested in for the channel at this point in time. I kind of just want it to be from the heart, so to speak, and actually mean something versus shiny and polished and being, slick. A lot of YouTube videos they feel kind of slick, and I just want to be more genuine. So that's kind of what we're going for. Anyway, if you've got footwear you like that meets the criteria that I've outlined as good footwear, or if there's criteria that I missed for good footwear, you disagree with my choice of footwear or my list of criteria, whatever the case may be, feel free to comment. I've got not a lot of views on the channel so far for the 6 videos. I have very few likes and no comments. And honestly, what I'm trying to do here is build kind of a community where we support each other. So the feedback in the comments would be appreciated. I want to learn from you. I want to share anything I have of value, and I want to gain anything of value that I can from the community. That's the goal of the whole thing. So anyhow, signing off. Still working on the catchphrase. Thank you for watching.